I want to tell you about the morning I took my first ADHD medication. So I'm standing in my kitchen and I'm holding a tablet that cost me 50 years to get to. I have absolutely no idea what's about to happen. You see, I'd been diagnosed with ADHD at 50. Part of me was hoping for a transformation. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. When you get a diagnosis like this in your 50s, you don't just receive the news yourself. You become the messenger for a story that other people have been living without understanding. Your partner, your kids, your oldest friends. And for me, there was one conversation I'd been quietly dreading. I told my now elderly mum a couple of days after the diagnosis. It was heartbreaking to see her immediately internalise the news as a parental failure, like she was sifting through my childhood for mistakes that didn't exist. But beneath the emotion, I think she found a sense of peace and my own relief, and that I felt I had some answers to why my brain operated this way. Then came the medication. The morning I took the first tablet felt like a turning point, but I didn't know what to expect. Would it be like the film Limitless? Was I about to get unmatched energy I'd always dreamed of? I was half expected to wake up the next day fluent in Mandarin and finally be able to master the guitar riff I'd spent decades giving up on. But the reality was much quieter, but infinitely better. There was no rush, no high. Instead, the volume on the world just turned down. The noise in my head, the 50 simultaneous tabs open, the eternal static, it all just faded. Typically of me, the first few days I kept waiting for something to go wrong. Because that's what you do when you've spent 50 years braced for disruption. You don't trust the quiet, you poke at it, waiting for the noise to come back. But it didn't come back, really. I could sit with a task and finish it. I could have a conversation and actually stay in it. I could feel a feeling without it immediately being chased down by 4 other feelings fighting for the same space. It sounds like a small thing, but it isn't. It was the difference between swimming upstream your entire life and finally being allowed to stand on the bank and admire the view. The real change hit me a week later. I was sitting on a bench by the river with my teenage daughter, just eating an ice cream. Just a simple, mundane Friday morning moment. But normally, even in a quiet moment like that, my brain would be anywhere else. Looping on the debt, something at work, even thinking about how long we had left on the car park ticket. But this time, nothing. I was just there. I watched the water move, and listened to her talk about her day, and actually tasted the ice cream. I realised I was fully present, sitting right next to her, not mentally orbiting some distant problem. This is what I'd been searching for. We bonded more in that morning than we probably had in the last 3 or 4 years. I was just being a dad, being happy, being present. And that simple, grounded reality felt more miraculous than any superpower that a limitless drug could give me. The medication didn't fix everything, but it started to give me access to myself. The self that had been muffled for 5 decades, but the life that I'd built up whilst I was lost in the fog, that was still there, waiting. The debt hadn't moved. The damage done to relationships, to my career, and to my health from years of sustained stress, that wasn't going to disappear because I could finally taste an ice cream. What changed was this. For the first time, I could actually face it with some clarity. Not from behind a wall of noise, not while simultaneously managing 17 other thoughts. Just face it, clearly, like a man who's starting to know who he is and what he's working with.